isn't it? And then after that we went through the real topic of the element 1, that is why we have to manage health and safety. So there are 3 reasons to manage health and safety. Those 3 reasons were moral, legal and financial. So when we studied the moral, 5 technical points we discussed. Those 5 technical points were what? Duty of care, right? Means moral responsibility. Now, the second one, responsible behavior for the moral. Then there was a pain and suffering. Then there was a societal expectation. And then there was a trust deficit for the moral. Now, after that, we studied legal reason to manage health and safety. So when we say a legal reason to manage health and safety, we can say that in every country there is a health and safety law, and even there is a international law. That international law is made by whom? ILO, International Labour Organization. Such as they have a convention that is called ILO C155, and with that one they also give some recommendation that is called R164. We will see in the further 1.2 actually regarding the ILO. So based on that, every company is bound to follow the legal requirement, and if they do not follow or operate their business within the health and safety parameters or the boundaries, then there will be a legal action by the enforcement agencies. So what are those enforcement action? So those enforcement action could be formal enforcement action, such as improvement notice, prohibition notice, legal fines, penalties, like criminal prosecution. So penalties, remedial orders, huge fine, you can say, imprisonment, civil claim, license suspension, license cancellation also may happen, isn't it? So those are the consequences of non-compliance with the legal requirement. So that's why if the organization wants to issue notice, fines, penalties, imprisonment, then they have to manage health and safety if they want to avoid. So that was the legal reason to manage health and safety. Now, financial reason to manage health and safety. So you can say every accident turns out to be a huge loss for the organization, right? Every accident will be associated with the loss, or loss will be associated with the accident. So those losses are categorized into 2 types of loss. What is that loss? What is that type of cost? Who will tell me? Who will tell me? Direct and indirect cost. Yes. So both are the cost, but they have categorized it as a direct and indirect. Both are cost, both are loss, but it is categorized because direct costs are those costs which is easy to calculate, easy to measure, because the bill will be there, some invoices will be there. If you get repaired your plant, equipment, facilities, or even a hospitalization, expense like hospital expense, there will be bill. Sick pay if you give, compensation if you give, there will be bill. Easily you can calculate the loss. Material damage, property damage, easily you can calculate. But indirect costs are those costs which is hidden, and it is very huge loss actually in comparison to the direct cost. It is also said that it is 8 times greater than the direct cost. So what are the indirect cost? So indirect cost could be reputation damage due to the accident into the eyes of the customers or the public or the client, as well as you can say the overtime given to make up the productivity loss due to the accident. A strike caused by the accident. So standby workers, standby equipment will be another loss. Recruiting a new worker, then giving a training to him, that will be another cost. Investigating the accident, involving the accident investigation team, their man hours will be lost, isn't it? Insurance premium will be increased because company will say you have too many accidents in 1 year, so you are paying only premium 1 lakh rupees in 1 year, so now you have to pay 2 lakh rupees because I'm paying too much money to your people. So insurance company will increase the insurance premium. That will be another loss, means indirect loss. So indirect losses are like huge loss. Yesterday we discussed. Now out of this all cost, whether it is direct or indirect, there is some cost which you can recover it from the insurance company by taking an insurance policy. What are those costs which is insurable? Who will tell me? What are those costs which is recoverable by the insurance company? Who will write? I just want to see people, means you were all noting down. What are the cost which is insert cost? Hospital fees, yes, Hammer. Then other one. So hospitalization cost will be recovered by the insurance company because there is the insurance policy. Okay. Then property damage, yes, property damage due to fire, due to fire. So property or material damage due to fire can be insured and can be recovered by the insurance company. Okay. What is the last one? Can anyone remember? What is the last one which is insert cost? You said already, no, hospital fees. Oh, okay, that one is said by Hammer. So medical cost is already, said. Medical cost and property damage due to the fire. And then what is the last one? Claims, yes. Compensation, yes. Compensation claim. So injured person will look for the compensation, no? So compensation can be claimed by the insurance company. Okay, no? So that will be called as a insert cost. So compensation claim will be inserted. So that can be recovered. So these three costs are the insert cost. Apart from these three costs, all the costs are uninsert cost. Okay, all the costs are uninsert cost, such as reputation damage cost, even the sick pay cost. All the other costs are uninsert cost. Okay. Then after that, we also studied that what are the basic safety requirement by most of the countries' health and safety law. So we studied about that by most of the countries' health and safety law. There are 5 basic safety requirements. Those are safe place of work, safe plant and equipment, and the substances also you can include, and then safe system of work like JSA or making a procedure, safe work method for the employees to follow and complete the task safely. ITS, information to the workers regarding their health and safety, instruction to the workers regarding their health and safety, training to the workers, training related to the health and safety to the workers for their health and safety. Then supervision, health and safety supervision also should be given. So these are all basic safety requirements. And then the last one was competent worker. So basic safety requirement is that the organization should recruit a competent person, as well as the existing employees should be always into the effort to improve their competency level by giving them a more training, more information, by involving them into the health and safety related meetings and all. So it will improve their knowledge, and then it will affect the competency also. Okay, no? So these are the things which we studied yesterday. Okay, now today we are going to study element 1.2, regulating health and safety. Okay, no? Regulating health and safety. Regulating health and safety, we are going to know about what is the role of enforcement agency and all that. Okay. So you see the role of enforcement agency. What is their role of what is their role actually? Their duties. So the enforcement agency, by name itself, you can say they will enforce the law, right? Enforcement means they will make sure that the law is implemented and the people or expected people or the public or the organization is following the law. Correct? No? So what is their role? Implementation of standards meaning the law. Correct? No? Through the legal system. Legal system meaning if they do not follow the standards or the law which is there, then according to the legal system there will be consequences like improvement notice, right? Prohibition notice, then there will be a fines, penalties, this and that. Then advise the employers, workers and public. So the role of enforcement agency is not to only issue the improvement notice, prohibition notice and fines and penalties, but also the enforcement agency has a role to advise the employer meaning organization related to the health and safety. So enforcement agency also has a role to advise the organization regarding the health and safety, how to improve, how to comply with the legal requirement. Some advice also will be given by the enforcement agency, not only to the organization but also to the workers, even to the public domain. Okay, now? So health and safety means role of enforcement agency is to advise to the employees or employers or public regarding the health and safety, that how organization can comply with the legal requirement, how worker should be complying with the legal requirement which is posed onto them, because some of the responsibility is also put onto the workers. 30% of responsibility, 70% of responsibility is under the top management. Okay, no? So employer also has some responsibility, we will see, and workers also have some responsibility. Public has responsibility to abide by the mate, has a role to advisory job, similar like our job, safety professionals. We being a safety person also, we have a role to advise the organization, workers, that how we can improve the health and safety, how we can improve the health and safety culture within the organization. Okay, no? So that one we can follow some strategic methods or system procedure to monitor the health and safety standards, to improve the health and safety standards, to identify the gaps within the health and safety standards. So we can give the advice. We can also give the training. Safety people can give the training. Now we're talking about the enforcement agency role. So role is to advise. Now here there is some general information that there is no harmonized. There is no harmonized global standard, meaning every country will have a different sets of standard. Okay, no? It will be somewhere similar, but it is not like exactly the same will be in the India and Pakistan and Saudi Arabia. So every country will have a different standard for the enforcement of health and safety law. Okay, so it is not necessary that in India we have a in UK and in India there is a improvement notice, prohibition notice, fines, penalties and all. Maybe in some countries it will be differing. Okay, no? Maybe it will be differing. Maybe directly they will give a prohibition notice. Maybe fine, penalty will be the very first priority. So there is no harmonized, means there is no one standard, or you can say common standard for every country. Okay, no? Now each country has their own enforcement system. So every country has their own enforcement system. Enforcement action depends on the gravity of the non-compliance, meaning the enforcement action will be depending upon the gravity. Gravity meaning how big the breach was there. So they breached main law, or they need only improvement into that. Breaching the law, what type of law they breached, based on that the non-compliance action will be taken. maybe fines, penalties, maybe improvement notice. So that will be under their discretion, that what, under their authority or discretion, that what action they will take. Now, the consequence of not complying with the legal requirement will turn out to be as a improvement notice, prohibition notice, fines, penalties and all. So that's why enforcement agency has a role also to issue formal notices, like issuing the legal mandates. Mandates means notice. So for improving, issuing legal standard to comply with the legislation, and issuing legal mandates meaning stopping the dangerous activities. So they will stop the activity, they will give the prohibition notice. They will give the improvement notice to comply with the legislation, means law, health and safety law. And informal meaning unofficial. The provision of health and safety related advice and guidance, it will be given to the employees as well as to the employer. So this enforcement agency will give advice, and formal notice they will take, like a improvement notice, prohibition notice and prosecution. When you say, it will be fines, license cancellation, remedial orders, civil claim. These are the legal prosecution, criminal prosecution. So you know already this, isn't it? Now come to this class notes. So you see the role of enforcement agency, which comes in your examination, because this class note, this class discussion note is made according to your question which comes into your examination from that particular element. So you see, if the question comes in your examination that what are the role of enforcement agency, can anyone confirm my screen is visible? My screen is visible. Can anyone confirm? Yeah, Ashwin is saying yes. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Now you see, role of enforcement agency when the question comes in the examination. So you have to write, role of enforcement agency is to provide health and safety related advice to improve the health and safety standards, right, within the organization, so that top management also, so that the organization can comply with the legal requirements, isn't it? So if they will improve based on the advice given by the enforcement agency, then the organization or the employer will be able to comply with the legal requirement. So this is also one of the roles. So you have to elaborate this point when you're writing the answer. This one bullet point, this one bullet point should be written in a 2 to 3 lines. So these are some technical points which I have written for you. So when you are writing your answer, you should be elaborating this point. This is a technical point, advice. Advice to do what? To improve the workplace with the basic safety requirement, right? What is the basic safety requirement? Safe place of work, safe system of work, right? Safe plant and equipment, IITS, and all that. Competency, right? So they can improve that. Then the role of enforcement agency is to enforce the law through enforcement action, such as improvement notice, prohibition notice. So this is also one of the role. Then conduct the accident investigation. So enforcement agency also has one role to investigate the accident. Like suppose in some organization, if there was one big major accident, then the enforcement agency can come and investigate, the accident. This is also their role. Even though you can add one point into this, that enforcement agency can come at any time and they can perform an inspection. They can do the inspection of any place without giving a prior notice. So if the factory inspector or enforcement authority is passing by some factory, they can enter to the factory or facility or premises and they can conduct the inspection. So that point also you can add into this. Now you can note down that one, the inspection, health and safety inspection they can conduct. Now The role of enforcement agency is also there to help, to help the organization by interpreting the law and establishing the approved codes of practices. So approved codes of practices is what? ACOPS. Like you see, there is a law, right? In India, there's the Indian Factory Act. So Indian Factory Act is very big book, right? Too many pages, right? It will be like, some religious book, like, okay, no? So Indian Factory Act is there, and they might not, find easiness to identify whatever the applicable laws are there for them according to their business. So what here the enforcement agency they do, they will interpret the law, health and safety law from the Indian Factory Act, suppose, and then they will establish or publish the approved codes of practices. Meaning this approved codes of practices, ACOP, is nothing but a law, but it is extracted or interpreted by the law. So this will be published by the enforcement agency, so that the organization, they can identify the applicable laws onto their business, because different types of business are there. Construction business are there, logistic business are there, chemical industries are there, manufacturing business are there, lots of business are there. So every organization might get confused with the Indian factory law. So the enforcement agency will also help the organization to comply with the Indian Factory Act, or maybe the BOCW Act, Building and Other Work Act, Construction Work Act. They will be complying. So they will interpret and then they will publish code of practices. Okay, no? So code of practices is nothing but a law. Okay, no? In brief, in summary, you can say. Then apart from that, there will be like some health and safety guidelines. They will be, also releasing health and safety guidelines, then industrial guidelines, industry specific guidelines, they will be publishing. So these whole efforts are for what? For the these enforcement agencies are helping the organization so that they can comply with the legal requirement, means the law, health and safety law. So they are not only issuing this, and they are not only investigating the accident and conducting the inspection or advising, but they are also helping the organization by interpreting the law and publishing the approved codes of practices and providing them the health and safety guidelines and industrial guidelines. Now tell me, these points are understood, everyone? Any doubt into any point of this enforcement agency? This point is clear? Please let me. So, question number: what are the role of enforcement agency? What are the role of enforcement, or you can say the labor inspector? You can write this thing. Nobody is replying. Am I audible to everyone? Okay, only Ashwin replied. Okay. Okay, so Mohammed also said. Okay. Now let's come back to the PPT. Okay. Okay, Deepak. Let's come to know about these international standards and conventions. Okay. So what is the International Labour? So this ILO is located in Geneva. Located in Geneva, Switzerland, affiliated to the United Nations. So as I told you that on the very first day, I think yesterday itself, that the ILO is one of the branch of a United Nations, UN. So the ILO was founded in 1919. Okay, 1919. Now it is a global international body. Okay, international body responsible for drawing up, means taking into account and overseeing international labor standards. Okay, no, meaning international labor standards. Labor standards meaning the workers' health and safety, which includes standards on occupational safety and health, are issued in the form of convention. Now try to understand what is convention and what is recommendation. Okay. Now you see, more or less every country is a member of ILO. Okay, now every country is member of ILO. So all this ILO, okay, all ILO members, they sit together in the Geneva. There will be a meeting in Geneva in Switzerland. So they will be sitting and they will be discussing on to some common labor, issues internationally, means global labor issues. Based on that, they will make a convention, meaning they will decide that what we should do. So they will make a law, meaning they will be treaty meaning they will agree on to something and then they will make that thing as a law. So convention is a law. Actually, it is a binding treaty. Binding treaty meaning every country's member will be agreeing to that, and they will state that I will implement into my country. So every country's representative or the member will be, after signing, they will be implementing that agreement or that treaty, you can say treaty. So after signing, that treaty is called convention. Convention is a legal requirement, international legal requirement. So in Convention 155, this convention was made. Okay, this convention name was Occupational Safety and Health Convention. So whenever they make a law, international law or the treaty, you can say, or the convention, okay, it is named as a convention. C155 is a convention. Convention is nothing but a treaty which is ratified by all the member states in the ILO. So it is a binding law. Binding meaning every country should be implementing and following this. They will be incorporating into their national law. Okay, now along with this, okay, along with this C155, they will also issue a recommendation so that organization can comply with the convention. Like suppose if the convention says that safe place of work, right? Safe place of work. Okay, safe place of work. In short, let's keep it. So if the convention says that the employer should provide a safe place of work, so this is the goal setting law. Goal setting law meaning safe workplace, they will say in the convention. But how the safe workplace will be called, what are the things which will make the place safe, that will be mentioned into the recommendation 164. Okay, so this recommendation is a non-binding guidelines. Okay, now what is this? Non-binding guidelines. Whether to make the place safe, whether you follow R164 means ILO recommendation, or whether you follow some other company's or recommendation, overall you have to achieve or you have to provide a safe workplace. Understood? Someone's microphone is on. Okay, you see, so if the convention is saying that organization or the employer should provide a safe place of work or safe plant and equipment or the safe system of work or whatever. So just take an example, like if the C155 is saying organization or the employer should provide safe place of work. So how this safe place work will be achieved, that will not convention. It will be mentioned into the recommendation, that how can make the place safe, that will be mentioned into the recommendation. Meaning it is a guideline, it is a guideline. Okay. So now it is upon the organization whether they follow the recommendation of the ILO such as R164, or if the organization follow some other standard like ISO standard. ISO is not a legal requirement, right? It is just an international standard. It's a good practice. So organization may follow the recommendation given by the ILO along with the convention, because whenever there will be a convention, they will release also the recommendation. Okay, because conventions will be always a goal setting. Goal setting means in general they will say that you have to protect the employees, but how to protect the employees they will not tell you in the convention. They will tell you in the recommendation that if you will do like this, if you will follow like this, then you will be able to protect the workers. So that will be mentioned into the recommendation. But the recommendation is a non-binding guidelines, you can say. Non-binding guidelines meaning that whether you want to follow the recommendation 164 or not, okay, or if you want to follow some ISO standard, ISO also gives you some guidelines that how you can make the place safe. So there will be no legal action, but overall you have to comply, means organization must comply with the C155 safe place of work. Meaning in very simple you can say, if I am telling you that bring me a tea, okay, bring me a tea, okay, bringing a tea is a convention. Now to help you, I may give you some recommendation, guidelines, some guidelines that how you can make a tea, from where you can make a tea. Now either you can follow my guidelines or you can follow your brother or your friend's guidelines. It upon you. But overall you have to bring me what? Tell me. Overall you have to bring me what? Whether you follow my guidelines or you follow your guidelines. At the end you have to bring what? Understood? So in the same manner, this bringing the tea is a convention, okay, convention. But how you will bring the tea, how you will make the tea, where you will find the tea, they will give you also recommendation with the convention. Now bringing the tea is a mandatory, suppose mandatory, meaning it's a law, it's a binding law. But recommendation is not a binding law. You may follow the ILO recommendation or you may follow someone else's recommendation. Okay, no? But at the end, you have to bring the tea, meaning you have to follow with the legal requirement, follow with the convention, that is safe place of work. You have to provide safe place of work. Now, is it clear to everyone? Anyone who has no clarity, please tell me so that I will try one more time. Have you understood? Have you understood? Is it clear? Okay, that was very good. For making it understood. Yeah. So overall, tea, bringing a tea is a convention. Now my guidelines is also with you in your hand, and your friends' guidelines are also with you. Whether you follow my guidelines or your friends' guidelines, but you have to bring the tea to me. You know, so this bringing the tea is a convention. Okay. Okay. Now let's move to the next slide. So now workers, responsibility and rights. Okay. So this workers' responsibility and rights, we will go through the class notes. Okay. Because here, some of the points are not mentioned, like rights are not mentioned. Okay. Means actually, I have to ask you, and then I have to tell you what are the rights. Okay. But in the class discussion notes, it is written, so it will be easy for you to understand. Okay. So workers' responsibility according to the C155 article number 19. Okay, article number 19. So what are the responsibility of a workers according to the article number 19? Okay, C155 Occupational Safety and Health Convention. C155 article number 19, what says to the employees, meaning worker, according to the International Labour Organization. Now let's come to the class discussion notes. So first let's come to this workers' responsibility. So in the examination, there will be a question that what are the workers' responsibility or rights. So rights will come later, okay, but let's come first talk about the responsibility. So worker has a responsibility according to the ILO C155 article number 19, that they have to take care of themselves and the co-workers. Okay, so workers should take care of themselves and the co-workers' health and safety. Okay, no? So worker has a responsibility according to the International Labour Organization, ILO C155 article number 19, that they have to take care of their own, okay, and co-workers' health and safety. So when the workers are working at the site, they must take care of themselves, and the workers who are working along with him, he should be also caring about him. So this is a legal requirement, okay, meaning legal responsibility placed onto the workers. Okay, no? Legal responsibility placed onto the workers. Now, what is the next responsibility? So, according to the ILO 155, article number 19, workers have a responsibility to follow all the instructions given by the employer. So, all the workers related instructions have to be followed. Okay, by the, which is given by the employer. Meaning that whatever the training or instruction, the organization is providing to the workers, they must then workers also have a responsibility to not tamper the safety. Meaning tamper meaning damaging, damaging something. Like suppose if there is a machine, so machine has some safety device or maybe some guardings and all. So workers should not remove the guards from the machine or should not damage any equipment, safety devices or safety equipment. So workers should not damage the safety devices, safety equipment. Okay, that is also responsibility. Or if there is any kind of a barrier, like barrier, so barrier should not be removed. Handrail, hand guards should not be removed by the workers. Okay, no? So that is also one of the responsibility according to the ILO. Then do not do horseplay. When you are saying do not do horseplay meaning what? Horseplay meaning do not do fun at the workplace. People they do pushing each other, laughing, kicking, and pushing each other. So those horseplay should not be there. Unsafe behavior should not be there. Pushing each other, laughing, and all. So that may cause person trip and fall, and then that may result into the accident. So that's why workers has a responsibility according to the ILO that they should not be involved into the horseplay. Okay. Then workers also has a responsibility to do not involve into the substance misuse. Substance misuse meaning what? Substance meaning alcohol, no? Alcohol, drug, some kind of thing. This should not be used by the workers, as well as they should not come to the work after getting influenced by this drug and alcohol at the work. Correct? So workers should not misuse the substance. Substance meaning substance could be alcohol, no, like wine or something, no, and drugs. Drug could be legal, illegal, right? Narcotics or solvents. Solvents could be like sometimes people are sniffing this whitener, thinner, some other some solvents are there which they are taking. If they don't have money, they will take some kind of a chemical, no? So they are like addicted to that. So that's why they should not misuse the substance, and they should not come to the workplace after having drug and alcohol. So that is also one of the responsibility placed onto the workers by the ILO. Then worker also has a responsibility to inform the unsafe condition to the supervisor. Okay. So whatever the unsafe condition, meaning the hazards they see at the workplace, they must inform it to the supervisor. The worker has a responsibility. You can say international law, means international labor organization, they are placing the law onto the worker that the worker must inform the unsafe condition, meaning hazards, right? So hazards has to be reported to their supervisor so that can be rectified. Now, reporting the accident. So workers have the responsibility to report the accident or even the near miss. When you say incident is a combination of accident and near miss both, right? Yesterday we discussed, no? What is the incident, what is the accident, what is the near. So accident both has to be reported. So if the workers are encountering or seeing some accident or meeting some accident at the workplace, he must report it to the reporting manager so that investigation can be carried out, so that thing will not happen again, and that may not happen to some other people. That accident must be stopped. Reoccurrence should not be there. So that's why workers also has a responsibility to report the incident, whether it is a near miss or accident. So these are the responsibilities of a worker according to the ILO C155 article number 19. Okay, now article number 19, and even recommendation 164, recommendation 10 of 164. Okay, so now let's see the ILO C155. Okay, ILO C155. Okay, article 19. Actually 16 is for the employer, 19 is for the worker. So this is, you see, C155, right? International Labour Organization. So C155, Occupational Safety and Health Convention 1981. So it has an article number. So article number, worker has a responsibility according to the article number 19, right? You see, article number 19. Now you see, there shall be arrangements at the level of the undertaking under which workers in the course of performing their work cooperate in the fulfillment by their employer of the obligation placed upon the employer. Those obligations must be fulfilled by the employer, so that in order to fulfill, the worker must cooperate with the employer so that the employer can fulfill the obligations, meaning the legal requirement or responsibilities, legal responsibilities. Okay, now Representatives of workers in the understanding in undertaking, okay, in the undertaking cooperate with the employers in the field of occupational health and safety. Meaning the representative of workers, meaning worker representative, must be consulted, means must cooperate with the employer so that employer can fulfill the health and safety responsibility. So worker representative should be also cooperating. So who are the worker representative? Like suppose if there are 500 workers in the organization, so there must be some different departments. So in each department there will be a worker representative. Like worker unions, you know, right? Workers union. So worker union also must be cooperating with the employers to fulfill, to let him fulfill the legal responsibility. Now, representative of workers in undertaking are given adequate information on measures taken by the employer to secure occupational safety and health, and may consult the representative organization about such information provided they do not disclose commercial secrets. Meaning that they should not disclose, workers should not disclose the secrets and all that, the confidential thing and all. So this is also one of the responsibilities. And workers and their representative in undertaking are given appropriate training in occupational health safety. That's it. Yeah. So these are actually article number 19. So these are something like goal setting. Okay now, but if you go to this recommendation, okay, we'll come to this article number 16 later, because this article number 16 is about employer's responsibility. Okay, now, employer's responsibility. What is the employer's responsibility? You see here. So far as is reasonably practicable, the workplace, machinery, equipment, and process under their control are safe without risk to health. Meaning, safe workplace, safe plant and equipment, and safe process, meaning procedure should be there. Then ensure the chemical, physical substances should be also safe. And then shall provide necessary adequate protective clothing like PPE and all that should be provided to the employee free of cost. That is also one of the responsibilities. As well as when you go to this recommendation, okay, recommendation. (164) recommendation 16. This is active obligation. Should 10 actually. So this is about the employers, how they can achieve the convention. Okay, to give necessary instruction and training and all. So we'll come to this one later when we will be responsibility. Now looking into the workers' responsibility. So workers' responsibility is written into the 16, I think. The significant article number 9 of the convention should ensure workers, ensure that the workers take reasonable care of their own. You see, what is the workers' responsibility? Can anyone read this one? Okay, let me read that for you. Okay, is it legible to you all? Is it legible to you all? The screen is legible, means you all can see the screen. Can anyone confirm? Yes. You see, what we studied in the class notes, that workers should be taking a reasonable care of their own and that of other person, means co-workers who may be affected by their acts or omission at work. Meaning, workers should be taking care of themselves or reasonable care of themselves and their co-workers who may be affected by their acts, meaning some kind of work they are doing, or omission. So some acts, means some work may also create some kind of a hazards. So they should be taken care of by themselves. Then comply with the instruction. The instruction, So workers should be following or abiding or following the instruction given by the employer. Then use safety devices and protective equipment correctly and do not render them inoperative. Meaning workers should not tamper or damage the safety equipment. Correct? Now report forthwith to their immediate supervisor of any situation which they have reasons to believe could present a hazard and which they cannot themselves correct. Meaning they right to their supervisor if they believe that unsafe condition may pose or may present some deadly health effect or the safety will be at risk, then they have to report it to their immediate supervisor. Meaning they have to report the unsafe condition to their supervisor. This is the legal responsibility, means International Labour Organization responsibility, you can say, on to the worker. Now, report any accident or injury to health which arises in the course of or in connection with the work. So, reporting the accident or the incident is also one of the responsibility placed onto workers. Okay, now placed onto workers. So these are actually a recommendation. Okay, recommendation, but overall convention has to be fulfilled. Okay, now convention. So convention 19 talks about the how workers will be cooperating with the employer. Now this article talks about the employer's responsibility. This is the convention, right? Bringing the tea. We will see this one later. Is it clear, everyone? Practically in the Google you can search and then you can cross verify those things. Okay. Now let's come to this. Employer's responsibility. Okay, according to the ILO C155 article number 16. Okay, now according to the article number 16. Okay, now so article number 16 is a employer's responsibility. When you say employer's responsibility, meaning organization responsibility, so organization has a responsibility to provide safe place of work. Now tell me, isn't it is a basic safety requirement also by the most of the countries' health and safety law? You see, basic safety requirement by the law. So the same basic safety requirement is given as a responsibility to the organization, to the employer. Correct? Tell me, understood? The organization has responsibility to provide a safe place of work, safe plant and equipment, safe substances also you can say. In providing a safe working procedures, so all the procedures should be there, that process should be performed according to the procedures. Then there will be a IITS. What is the IITS? Information related to the health and safety, instruction related to the health and safety, training related to the health and safety, supervision related to the health and safety shall be provided. This is also a responsibility of an employer according to the ILO C155 article number 16. Okay. Then avoid excessive overtime. So employer should not give excessive overtime to the employees. So 8 hours duty hours is the 8 hours. So maximum overtime they can give is 3 hours according to the Indian law. So 3 hours they can give. More than that they should avoid giving the overtime. Continuous overtime will cause the workers getting fatigue, stress, some bypassing of a procedure system, because they will take some shortcuts, because they will be tired by working 11 hours from morning to evening. So avoiding wherever possible. When you say avoid, avoidance meaning wherever possible. The employer has a responsibility to avoid excessive overtime to be given to the workers. Also, the employer has a responsibility to ensure basic welfare facilities. When you say a basic welfare facilities, what do you understand by the basic welfare facilities? Basic welfare facilities, the basic need of the workers. So at the workplace, the basic welfare provision will be, for example, washing room, toilet, you can say drinking water, cafeteria, canteen, right? Canteen, resting shelter, and locker, changing room. Lots of lots. So these are actually basic safety requirements. Not only this, but there could be like a room heater in the winter season. In the summer season, there should be AC or fan. So lots of things, which is considered to be as a free facility, So basic welfare facilities should be provided to the workers who are coming to do the work. So hand washing facilities and all that, everything. So these are the basic welfare facilities, and provision of this one is a legal responsibility placed on the employer. Now, arrangement to reduce fatigue. Fatigue meaning energy gone, like how your battery get drained. So workers, they will lose their energy, right, by working 8 hours continuously. So fatigue removal arrangement should be there. Fatigue removal arrangement or program should be, you can say, by giving a break, right? By break, you can remove the fatigue, right? You can reduce the fatigue. Fatigue meaning what? Tiredness. People are exhausted. People, they don't have energy to perform any, more, any task. So fatigue also has to be removed by minimizing the workers' involvement into such strenuous work, or by giving some job rotation or break, like 1 hour work, 15 minutes break, or half an hour break after 1 hour, 2 hours. So it depends. So there should be arrangements for the workers to take some rest, job rotation, so that they can reduce the fatigue of the worker. Okay, no? Now, health surveillance. So workers should be, having a medical checkup. Health surveillance meaning what? Medical checkup. Okay, no? Medical checkup. Medical checkup. So medical checkup should be done periodically, like a yearly or annually. Medical checkup. In what profession the workers are working. If the workers are working in a manual handling, then manual handling related medical checkup shall be done. If the workers are working in a noisy area, then audiometry test has to be done. If the workers are working in a chemical storage area, then there should be some chemical related, fitness, ill health, fitness certificate has to be done. So health surveillance of the workers should be done. That is also a responsibility of the employer by the ILO. Then provide the PPE. PPE should be provided to the employee, not yet me, free of cost, or they should deduct the salary. The cost of the PPE. PPE meaning what? Personal protective equipments like a helmet, safety glass, hand gloves, safety shoes, protective jacket, coverall. These are personal protective equipments, right? These are personal protective equipments. So personal protective equipment should be given to the employees free of cost. Free of cost. So these are the responsibilities of an employer according to the ILO